Meeting for the Municipal Services and Environmental Justice Committee meeting is called to order at 6:04. Can I have a motion to accept the agenda?
I make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Archie, second.
I, Argelia Ortiz, second the motion.
I'm sorry, for the record, Freddie Perez, please record.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstentions? Any discussion on the agenda? Corrections, changes? Pardon? Introductions is next. We can start with Mr. Freddie Perez.
Freddie Perez, Chairman, Land Use, Economic Development, and Housing Committee Board 1.
Sir.
Ronnie Lugo, public member.
Committee member.
Cesar York, committee member here, sanitation and environmental justice, and community board member.
Argelia Ortiz, I'm a board member. I serve on this committee.
Yes, introduce yourself. Introduce yourself.
Sekou, living in the Thank you.
Luis Rodriguez, public member.
Currently, I'm working with Bronx Documentary Center on a project about green spaces.
Hi, I'm Natasha Edwards. I'm the Legislative Director for Assemblymember Jackson. Assemblymember Chantal Jackson, 79th Assembly District.
I'm Faye Howley, the granddaughter of Linda Yu.
I'm Haley Miranda, Youth Team Leader at Louis Signals Phenomenon.
I'm Imani. I'm the lead resiliency organizer at Louis Signals Phenomenon.
I'm Diego Colon, son of Willie Colon. Antonio Colon, son of Willie Colon. Good afternoon, good evening, Miguel Colon, son of William Colon.
Good afternoon, I'm William Cologne, grandson of Willie Cologne. Good afternoon, my name is William Cologne. I'm the eldest son of Willie Cologne.
I'm Rose Cologne.
My wife.
Pedro Suarez, Executive Director of the Third Avenue Business Improvement District.
Good evening, Jihadi James, Manager of Community Engagement with the Sanitation Foundation.
Hello all, my name is Halima Johnson and I'm the Director of Volunteer Programs at the Sanitation Foundation.
Suzanne Lucas, public member.
I'm the CD, work with the Bronx Bodega. I live around the neighborhood.
Anthony Jordan, District Manager to the Board. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Madam Chair. We had a full agenda. Just for everyone's knowledge that our group is being broadcast live on our YouTube page. Thank you, Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you and welcome, everyone. Before you speak, please present your name, state your name for the record so that they can pick it up on the YouTube camera. The first presentation is the Affordable Waste Reduction Act, A6192, the Office of New York State Assemblywoman Chantal S. Jackson. You have the floor.
Okay, good evening. Coming to the front. All right, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All right, so you guys had a presentation last, maybe a few weeks ago, on a bill relating to waste reduction, packaging reduction by Beyond Plastics. And so what I wanted to have happen was you receive both those presentations just so you can get a clear understanding of what are some of the issues with that bill and why we have a separate bill. So I know that the environmental subcommittee met and you guys talked about a Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act, which is PREA. And I know that you guys offered a letter of support, but I just wanted to make sure you got the full picture before you offered that letter of support, which is why I wanted to come before you. And we've been talking about reducing waste for a long time. This is not a question of if we should do it or not. Everyone is saying we need to do this. The waste is piling up. A lot of the things that we have are not recyclable. And this bill is more of a ban bill as a part of the PREA bill, which you received the presentation on, is more of a ban of products as opposed to what my bill is, which is actually recycling of products. So we have the landfills that are full right? The bill that you guys learned about PREA is not to do anything with those landfills, but to say like, let's stop making plastics. And that's fine. However, the smarter option for us is to also figure out what we're doing with the waste that we currently have, which is what the Affordable Waste Reduction Act is. It's more of a recycling. So I'm a social worker. I'm not an environmentalist by any means. Love our community and our world, want to live in it much longer. I came at this project from the social aspect of it.
Mhm.
This is an affordability issue that's going to impact us. And that's the part that we're not talking about. I know you were told that this is going to save the municipalities billions of dollars, but that's not going to be billions of dollars that you're going to save. What happened with the PREA is that it's going to ask the person making packaging to make a different type of packaging, which is going to change the cost of whatever they are creating thus far. That cost, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to go down to the consumer. We've seen it happen a million times. So as a social worker, I picked up this issue because I'm like, wait, we've been talking about affordability for so long. We know we need to do something on the waste that we have. This is probably not the best way to do it. So there has been places like California has introduced an EPR or waste reduction bill, right? California introduced it, they passed it into law, and then they stopped it. They put a halt on it because of the cost. And that bill didn't even go as far as the PREA bill that you guys learned about. So it's hard for states to implement this if they're not addressing the cost issue that we're going to talk about. So the other thing is that our bill, so the PREA bill bans or doesn't have any set asides for advanced recycling. Advanced recycling, and this is another reason why I got involved in this. There's a plant that I've visited in North Carolina that does advanced recycling. It literally takes recyclables that, like, you guys are familiar with the numbers in recycling, so there's numbers 1 through 7. Are you saying yes? Okay, great. So they'll take recyclables that are 2, 4, 5, and 6 and turn it into something else, which is normally fuel to be utilized. That is recycling of waste that normally would just go into our landfills. No one knows what to do with it. They're able to take that and make it into a new product. PREA would say that this would not be allowed to, this type of technology would not be allowed and made available to reduce the cost of, reduce the amount of, so I'm losing the words, sorry. Packaging, sorry, your packaging reduction, that wouldn't count. However, 25 states have already introduced advanced recycling like this. New York is not one of them, right? So this is why they're not going to say this. They want to ban plastics, which I understand why they want to, but plastic that already exists, this bill, PREA does not speak to that, those plastics. Advanced recycling would eliminate some of the waste that we already see in our landfill by collecting it and making it into a new product, which is fuel. Okay, so talk about 25 states. Also, so we have economists in York University look at Canada. Canada has had EPR for over 20 years. They've been able to get their reduction of packaging down to 69% over 20 years. However, with PREA, the expectation is to get our packaging down 75% in 12 years. Am I right in saying 12 years? In 12 years. So if you have a country who've been doing it for over 20 years and they've only reached 69%, how do we then think that New York is going to come in and do more than what they've done in 12? So this is some of the things to think about when you're hearing about the two different bills, right? So we talked about cost shifting, and we talked about what is already on the books as far as Canada, and the fact that the timeline is just not realistic for New York. What else is there? So the there's a lot of chemical bans within the PREA bill that does not exist within the Affordable Waste Reduction Act bill. Those so I just want everybody to know that chemical doesn't equal toxic. Your glasses that you guys are wearing made out of chemicals. You wear them every day. Nothing happens to you besides you have better vision. There's a lot of things that we utilize that are made of chemicals, and it does nothing to harm you. There are a lot of chemicals that do. So 25, and they what I will say is that the sponsors of these bills have met many a times and have made many adjustments to it. Some of the chemicals that are being banned would then eliminate some of the products that we have on the shelf that we utilize. So I just came to show you some of the things that we could see are problematic for PREA's bill. These pouches, right? This is what we're talking about would be no longer used on the shelf, and it's all about convenience. Think about, you may not have children, but if you did have children, parents will tell you how easy it is just to grab this, give it to their child, especially if they're on the go. So we're talking about getting rid of this. We're talking about this packaging that you can open and close again, reseal. This is problematic. This is the same type of packaging. But these are some of the everyday things that you guys will utilize, our constituents utilize, and we're talking about it being removed from the shelf because of the chemicals that may be in the packaging that this bill would ban. So I want to share that. North Carolina, packaging. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. There's a lot of opposition to this bill, and I'll talk to you guys about the politics of PREA. Let me just say, my bill is the Affordable Waste Reduction Act, right? I am not the chair of environmental income. The chair has the other bill that you guys met with first. There's no likelihood that I would be able to pass my bill. Let me just be clear on that. That's just how the politics of this work. My bill is introduced to bring a real scenario to an issue that we have. The bill that is already being discussed, and you heard, there's a lot of co-sponsors to it. I'm one of the co-sponsors to PREA. We'll have a hard time passing because of the issues around affordability, the issues around the products that will come off the shelf. And so the politics of it is why this bill is being held up for so long. My bill is similar to what we passed in Minnesota, which they've already passed it. It's the compromise that businesses and the states are able to agree to say like this is the best way for us to deal with recycling of packaging. So Minnesota, Maryland, Washington, they've all passed EPR. And most of them look like the Affordable Waste Reduction Act. So I just want to put that out there. Also, let me see if there's anything else I want to share before I ask questions.
Can I add a couple points from you?
Okay. This is Natasha. I'm sorry, I didn't mention Natasha. Natasha does my ledge, and she's my ledge director. So of course she works on this bill and a number of other bills with me. So the main two things I worry about is affordability. If we pass PREA, the cost saving is just a cost shifting from municipalities on down to the consumer, because what they're going to do is the person who makes the packaging is just going to charge you more for whatever research they have to do, whatever changes they have to make, the consumer's going to pay for it. As a social worker, that means a lot to me. And a lot of products are going to come off the shelf. These are products that I personally wouldn't eat or have in my household, but I know my constituents do. So we're talking about meats and frozen fruit, frozen vegetables. We're talking about the packaging that the packaging that your meat come in, but that little plastic part. We're talking about all of those things coming off the shelves, trying to figure out, let's put it in something else. Well, you have to create the something else, and the timeline to do that has to be reasonable. I don't know about any of y'all, but I never made plastic before. And I don't want to make the assumption that I know how long it takes to make something new that's sustainable and better for our environment. So I want to leave with that. Natasha, what else you want to share?
Yeah, I want to hit a couple of points because I had
just watching the meeting from before when Beyond Plastic was here. So I'm going to answer a couple of your questions that I saw some board members had asked, and then we can move on to any other questions you guys may have. So we're talking about affordability, obviously, is one of the main reasons why we have this legislation. How many of you, or you know people who own a restaurant? Oh, that's a restaurant thing. Okay. How many of them do delivery or takeout? Okay. So the amount of innovation required due to these bans from the PREA bill will result in increased costs for small businesses. I know Beyond Plastic said that wouldn't happen, right? But we're talking about, you know how they talked about the black containers with the BPAs and stuff like that. There are many that don't have BPAs that are already for sale, right? But we're talking about these type of containers that they're going to have to change, re-innovate into something that's, whether it's biodegradable, something else like that. Their argument is that businesses will absorb that cost, right? That's their only argument, that it won't shift to the consumer. We know as people that the businesses are not going to absorb the cost. They're going to shift it onto the consumer. That makes it more expensive for these small businesses to purchase these products, to place your food in, to give it to you. What does that mean? Your prices for your food from these small businesses is going to increase. It's either these small businesses absorb the extra costs and don't raise the cost of your food, which means they can shut down. It's already hard enough to operate a small business in the city, or they increase the prices to you, which could also mean they get less business. So that's a 2-point thing that shows how this would affect small businesses. Another thing, this is extremely important when we're talking about affordability, also for people who are eligible for SNAP benefits. When we're talking about this conversation of, we see these types of food and stuff like that, the thing that they say is, oh, well, we can have this in a glass container. You can put it in plastic bags. They're banning plastic bags. They're banning single-use plastic products. So what are we going to put it in? Reusable plastic bag that you can continuously seal and wash. Low-income families cannot afford to make those big changes into these organic or reusable, reuse, refill a lot of the time because it is more expensive, and although that is sad, it is the reality, right? So we're trying to make something that reduces packaging and creates a recycling infrastructure so that we can continue to increase the amount of recycling that we have, so that this stuff doesn't end up in the landfill as much. And we also have packaging innovation and stuff like that within the bill. We're not banning these products so that we're not having products come off of the shelf, so that we're not increasing the prices towards consumers. She mentioned a couple examples. So some other examples is bread. What packaging does bread come in? Comes in that flexible package, plastic. Dairy products, yogurt, cottage cheese, that comes in plastic tubs. Frozen vegetables, which you talked about, which I use frozen vegetables all the time because it's way more expensive to get fresh produce. American cheese singles, I hate American cheese. I hate it. But the reality is that is what low-income families are using. Okay, all cheese, matter of fact, for the most part, unless you're going to let it spoil within 4 days, which we know low-income families cannot afford, has to be packaged in flexible packaging for it to stay fresh longer in your fridge. We said frozen vegetables, and ketchup, mayo, mustard, nuts, granola, all that type of stuff, right? Those things will either be put off the shelf, increase price. Okay, so I think those are some important things to harp on. I can also answer any other questions about, the process. And then you guys received the package, so you see who's in opposition to PREA.
It'll be passed out.
My bill, let me be very clear that my bill is not passing because the chair has the other bill, right? So we're trying to do our best to get to a common ground where we can get something passed. I really wanted to see something done last year in the budget. I mean, not the budget, last year during session. This year, I'm hoping for the same thing. We're just gonna have to come back to the table to have more conversations. Opposition for PREA or support for my bill is all, small businesses, unions, because we're talking about more jobs. We have the Teamsters, local 338 are all in support of my bill. So at this point, you guys have the side by side for the two bills. And we're here for questions.
And the chair of the environmental committee in the assembly is
Deborah Glick, and Harcum has the bill on the Senate side. And they've passed the bill. They've passed PREA twice at least.
In the Senate.
The assembly has not. So as you take a look and see, there are a number of sponsors on PREA. What happens is though, people can put their name on bills, but when it's time to come to a vote, when the speaker is asking people, how you gonna vote? They'll tell them, no, I can't vote on this. If we are increasing prices for our constituents, it's a problem. If we're closing down small businesses, it's a problem. So people are going to put their names on bills because they don't want the advocates to keep coming at them. I know they talked about, how lobbyists came to us 12 times or whatever the case may be, but they also are active in going to people's offices and protesting and things of that nature. So people will get on a bill so they don't have to deal with that, but then tell the speaker no, which is the issue that they had last year. They did not have the votes. It came down to the last day of session and he still didn't have the votes to get that bill passed. The other thing I forgot to mention is the governor. So when the governor gets this bill, let me be very clear. The governor didn't have to call me herself and say that she hates this bill, but she doesn't care for the bill, the PREA bill, right? And if she gets it, she has the chance to veto it. She has the chance to chapter amend it, which will just break down the bill even further. So this is why we came with the Affordable Waste Reduction Act, so we can have something of compromise, we can get something done, start clearing up our landfills as best we can, and make a real recycling product here in New York State, because that's what we're lacking. We want to invest in our recycling and actually get that done.
So in terms of the negotiation process, right? Like, and you work in the legislature, we don't, right? So in terms of the negotiation process, how can you foresee in the future that the Senate and the Assembly could come together to work on the bill that you are proposing so that we can reach some sort of agreement in a reasonable timeline?
So, okay, I will say that the chair has met multiple times. They've changed this bill so many times and they've taken so many people out of the original PREA bill. They've had multiple meetings. We still haven't gotten to a place of real compromise because, like I said, my bill mimics Minnesota, which actually passed and they've seen be productive. Her bill is more stringent than California, which they've stopped, right? And so they want to ban plastics. Beyond Plastics wants to ban plastics. I get it. However, it does nothing to talk about the plastic that we have. They don't want to accept advanced recycling as a real thing. They're saying like it's just us putting more. It's just us. I forgot what their terminology is, but either way, they don't acknowledge advanced recycling, even though 25 other states already have it. So we have to really have hard conversations about what they feel strongly about, what we feel strongly about. When is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? I don't know, but.
Okay, so first of all, I am going to apologize for being a few minutes late. And I want to thank the Assemblywoman and also your staff for showing up and for providing this presentation and for providing all of this research on the legislation and for committing to this work. I know this is not an easy subject and it doesn't have an easy solution as well. You might take a seat.
Okay.
Yes.
No, it's fine.
Okay. So we want to take a few questions. Okay. My name is Paola Martinez, for the record.
Where's the camera?
That's it.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure where I was looking. Sorry. Okay.
So, thank you so much for coming out to do this work. It's not an easy fix. I know that, folks in our community are very, very much interested because we see how this is also an equity issue. We know that in our neighborhoods, we would want to see more fresh food, more markets, so people can actually buy stuff that is fresh and not necessarily packaged. But it's also about how we keep products that family need on the shelves, right? So it's not an easy solution, and we commend you for committing to that work. I am going to take some questions, but we are also going to limit those questions because there's a few other things that we would like for the Assemblywoman to update us on, which is the work that is currently happening with regards to the budget, and also a few other things that she might want to share, initiatives that her office is developing right now. So we would like to use this as an opportunity.
And if there's a question that we can't get to tonight, please still make it available to me and my staff, and we'll get it to you guys later.
Yes, and I also want to reiterate that it is so important for us to be able to partner and to have these conversations with our representatives. We value so much the work that you are doing, and we're looking forward to continuing the conversation and just support the initiatives that we know will positively contribute to the betterment of our community. So I wanted to point that out. And with that, I would like to open the floor. I believe Freddie had
Take
his
this on.
hand
Take this on.
up. Okay, and we have.
I yield.
Okay, perfect. And we have only room for specific questions. And if you can limit those interactions to questions.
Got it.
And
Can
thank
give
you so
context
much.
And then question.
If you can limit the if we can limit the participation to 1 minute per person, that'll be greatly appreciated.
I also want to put
Why
out
you
there, I
making
have my
me-
business cards here,
You're
if
not
you
my
ever want to
committee.
contact their
Just
office.
want-
I only have 10, but take pictures and share.
Thank you
okay?
so much. Thank you.
Only hear the presentation.
So let's limit the question in context to 1 minute so that the assemblywoman has time to answer. And I know you also have to go to
Thank you,
another
Natasha.
community event.
Okay,
Thank
yeah,
you.
so, so, first, I want to, first, my name is Cesar Yok. I'm a committee member here, and so, I'm trying to understand the recycling stuff, because, a lot of people don't recycle, and they have dropped over 2% since 2017. So recycling stuff. So I want to see the difference. Because the other one was going towards the companies, like the companies were being pressured to reduce, and now this is coming. It seems like it's not the companies. It's like trying to see how it's affordable for businesses. So, so the question is, in the bill, do you have a program or something that it will increase recycling in order for it to work? Because recycling, people don't recycle, so, and they have dropped dramatically. But, so is that included in the bill, or you're gonna put that later on? That's one question. And so the second, what, a minute is done?
Yeah.
I can't speak her name.
We can go back.
Okay.
We can go back. So she can answer
So the question is
first
about
question, and we'll go
recycling. Is it in the bill? Yes?
Well, it's you mentioned recycling, right? For,
Yeah.
people
People don't
do
recycle.
It has dropped over the last few years. It has dropped every year.
So let me
2%.
just, because I know she's tight on time.
Yeah.
The recycling is the responsibility is still of the company. It's the company that's responsible for it, not the consumer. The companies are still responsible for it, but the difference is that with PREA, the company's just responsible for changing their packaging, so it's no
Okay.
longer plastic as opposed to. You wanted to add something?
Yes,
And-
so, you're asking about the recycling infrastructure in this bill? The, what's it called?
So do you have something that we increase recycling
Yes.
so this works?
Yes, so the actual point of the bill is that producers are paying an annual fee that will go towards these producer responsibility organizations that give out a stewardship plan to increase recycling. That includes public education, that includes education on reuse refill, so not just recycling, because recycling is a part of a 5-step process that's supposed to be implemented
Okay.
that is not. So it's giving public education as well to make sure that we're increasing the amount of recycling that we have, while also increasing reuse, refill, and recycling, and decreasing waste as
Can you
well.
have just find one that's it?
Let me have another round and then we can come back, okay?
That's fine.
Thank you so much. Your name for the record.
Yes. Hello, good evening. My name is Andres Madrigal. I'm a community member. I just had a quick question regarding the timeline. You mentioned the PREA is unrealistic and your bill being realistic. Could you just provide sort of a comparison in terms of timeline, how many years you would see before you create meaningful waste reduction?
So our bill doesn't speak to waste reduction and timeline as it does. What it does is it asks for the companies that the PROs that Natasha just talked about to create a timeline, to come up with the people who are experts in this field, to come up with a timeline that makes sense for recycling.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a part of the needs assessment that happens in the first 2 years of the bill, and then the stewardship plan, and then the PROs. Everybody has to be part of a producer responsibility organization within the first 8 years that this bill is implemented. That stewardship plan and the needs assessment will determine what our targets are.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you.
Anybody else has a question? Cesar, you can go ahead with your second question.
Okay, the second one has to be, you mentioned affordability, right? So right now, according to the comptroller's office, New York City uses 95% of the energy comes from fossil fuels. So, and then when you have plastic, it comes from petroleum based. So that's how you make plastic, and also all these rolls and things like that. So, I want to get the sense of affordability because I also see flaws in the other one too. So I also see flaws in the other one, but there's some of it is not realistic. But I see you got to have some form of consensus. So it will be like right now, New York City is 95% fossil fuel based. New York City, according to energy, information, if you get it, we have 42 terawatts of energy that you use per year. So, and then with what's happening outside, with the war and all that stuff, which also affects this year, because in the United States exports, it has a hard time using the current petroleum here in the United States, so they have to import. So for me, based on what's happening, it's gonna have an effect on prices and petroleum prices. So the question would be how can you deal with that effect, because it's gonna hit here. It's gonna increase prices on the producer and also the companies. So how will he deal with those issues? Because right now everything's connected.
No, but the question,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm clear because it was a lot. So you're asking how, because this bill deal with petroleum prices?
Yeah, how you would deal with.
But this has nothing to do with petroleum prices.
No, but you have recycling and all that stuff, the plastic and all that stuff comes from petroleum. So it connects to it.
Mhm.
So that's gonna go on the consumer and also gonna go on the.
But that's not germane to the bill.
Okay, so it's not part of that. Okay, that's
I guess that one point of clarification, I think that we all know that with the current situation that we have, gas prices going up, it has an impact on all products that we rely on, whether, we like it or not, it does. But the bill is not addressing that. I don't think that, that's the scenario right now. But we can perhaps flesh out more those thoughts and follow up with Natasha, and any research, any information that you think is relevant and you can share, we would be happy to disseminate that for the board. I also think that one of the points that the community members are making is that our community doesn't recycle enough, right? And unfortunately, we have a lot of companies that they produce products, they create a problem, but once it is out there, then it becomes
our problem.
It becomes our problem and a problem for the municipalities.
Yeah.
And we know the budgets are limited. And we also know that government does not necessarily is as fast as we would want it to be to come up with solutions, right? The private sector does, but sometimes they don't want to spend those dollars. So I think one of the main things that this bill is trying to accomplish is to make sure that the companies are being more responsible. And you can correct me if I am wrong.
Nope, that's it.
Yes.
Something
One
like that.
last thing I wanted to say, I wanted to publicly, make sure that the community board position with regards to how we engage with our elected officials, with our community partners, is in a positive and transparent way. We appreciate your presence here, and we appreciate your willingness to come and inform the public about these proposals that are being made, that we don't necessarily have this luxury all the time to have one of our legislators to come and present. So we truly appreciate that. There was never an intention to imply that we had received an order to not do or pause on a vote from a previous presenter. I think everybody has the right to come and present, and we give them the opportunity to listen to them. One thing that we are trying to do to improve at this community board is to make sure that we have a clear picture of what are the proposals, what are the alternatives that are presented to the community. And in order to do that, we have to make sure that as a public, we ask the right questions. So before we even take a statement as valid, we want to make sure that we are understanding what is being presented to us. So that was always the intention in the previous meetings. We wanted to make sure that we had all of the information that was on the table. As you know, there is a proposal out there. PRIA is not necessarily the best, and there's other proposals that other groups are making. We have to come to an agreement, and we have to negotiate, and we have to use our common sense to see what solutions can be implemented, and then we can continue to grow from there. Having said that, I would love to give the opportunity to the Assemblywoman to provide us updates on what's happening with the budget, what we can expect, what's good for our community, what she's fighting for our communities. Those are dollars that come to our organizations and come to the agencies that work here in our community. So please, Assemblywoman.
So thank you for everything you just said. I will try to sum it up as best as possible. We're in the middle of the budget season. The budget is $267 billion this year. We don't look like we're close to passing a budget. We are going back on Monday for an extension of paying our bills up until we complete the budget. Last year we passed the budget on May 10th. I hope we don't have that situation this year. I don't know. I will say one thing that I'm really excited about that we were able to do in last year's budget. I'm chair of the New York State Black Legislative Task Force. We were able to get $30 million specifically for our nonprofits that support our communities. And so I'm chair of the Black Task Force. Cardenas Reyes is chair of the Puerto Rican Hispanic Task Force. Grace Lee is chair of the AAPI Task Force. Each one of those task forces advocated for $30 million each. We all received the $30 million last year. This, so they can present on their funding. Because I'm chair of the Black Task Force, I'm going to tell you guys that we were able to bring $2.1 million back into the Bronx through that $30 million through, I want to say 16 different organizations. I can give you guys the list here if you guys have it. Okay, perfect. This is some of the things that we're fighting for, right? Like I can't do everything on my own, but there's people on the ground who are doing that work. And I want to make sure that they are, they have the resources to do such things. Federal government has been cutting a lot of our nonprofits, and we just know that whatever we can do to support them, that's what we want to do. So we have that. This money, the $30 million, is in the budget one houses of the Assembly and Senate again. So hopefully we can get this again, which means we can either give more money to the same exact groups or more money to other groups that also impact the borough. So that's one of the main things. Some of the things that's holding up the budget right now, one of the things is our energy conversations that we're having. Immigration conversations and insurance. Insurance, not so much. I feel like we can figure that one out. Immigration is a tough one that even the government's speaking out on, which I'm grateful for. And then the energy stuff. So yes, those are the main things that's holding up the budget.
Thank you for that. We know that we didn't have a lot of hope that is it the Immigration for All Act?
New York for All.
We didn't have many hopes that legislation was going to pass, but we certainly are very concerned about ICE activity in our district. One of our community members is actually putting together an immigration event, a train the trainer event, so that we can support folks. So what are your thoughts on that? If there is any support that your office is providing right now, I think that the ICE activity comes and goes, right? I don't think we have had any reports lately, but it's definitely a concern for our community.
So I had myself and Gustavo Rivera did a joint virtual meeting on this. This was at the height of it when people weren't willing to even come out their house to go to a meeting in person. So we can do another one of those, just know your rights situations, and anything else that you guys think of, or if there's a person you know that's been impacted directly or family's been impacted, then of course reach out to your elected officials, myself included, to see how we can support them. I don't know what's going to happen with New York for All. I don't like to make guesses on where we're going to land, but the fact that the governor's talking about ICE being in our state and how they're impacting our constituents, that means a lot. So clearly we want to get to the table and do something on it.
Thank you so much, and we would love to partner with your office on that type of virtual trainings or conversations. Thank you. I know you have to go to other community meetings. If you have any last questions, if not, we just want to thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, everyone. You have a wealth of information, so a lot. So.
My business cards are here. Also, if you guys have any extra questions, she has to head out. I'm leaving separately. So if you have any other questions, I can leave a couple minutes later so that you guys can ask. And if I know some people wanted some follow-up information. My email's on there, office phone number's also on there. Please keep in mind the office phone is from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Natasha.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Okay, so we have. Thank you. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the Sanitation Foundation presentation.
Mr. Jordan, we have these.
Sanitation Foundation presentation, Love the Hub, Pedro
Love the
Suarez.
I just wanted to preface this a little bit. So again, my name is Pedro Suarez. I'm the executive director of the Third Avenue Business Improvement District. We've been trying a variety of strategies to make sure that the hub and the surrounding area, not just the district, is as clean as possible. It's an ongoing effort and an ongoing challenge. So one of the things that we're doing with our discretionary funding is a series of community engagement projects. So in February, we did a Love the Hub campaign for Valentine's Day, where we had community members come together at the YMCA to talk about a little bit about the history of sanitation in the city. And, some folks know this history, but, there was a day where trash was just thrown in the river and on the street, and there was no sanitation department, which is crazy to think. And so all the progress that we've made since then, and we still have a lot more progress to go. So we did a workshop with community members February 14th. And then the next phase of that is distributing Adopt Your Spot kits to the community. Our friends at the Sanitation Foundation are going to talk a little bit about what that means. But essentially, we want to build a community of volunteerism and show people what is possible by getting people involved and keeping their community clean. I think it goes a long way when you see the people that you live and work with keeping the community clean. And obviously, we still need the city services, so this is in no way meant to replace that. And there continues to be further investment needed in this community around that. But we still want to build, a community where people come together and help keep the community clean. So we purchased Adopt Your Spot kits, and we want to distribute them to folks today and in the months that follow. And we could use your help in getting the word out and getting people to say, hey, there's a particular public space that we would love to get, for it to get love. And we want to help do that. And then we can provide them with the kits to help us maintain those areas that people want to see cleaned up. So that, in addition to other things that we're doing, this is just one strategy. But I'll hand it over to our friends at the Sanitation Foundation, who have been great partners. Thank you.
Thank you, Pedro. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jahadi James, Manager of Community Engagement with the Sanitation Foundation. I'm joined by
Alima Johnson, the Director of Volunteer Programs at the Foundation.
Yes, so like Pedro said, this is part 2 of our Love the Hub series. We said we were here in February down by La Central, YMCA. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yes, so we're here and we're going to talk specifically today about our Adopt Your Spot program. It's great to see some familiar faces, and thank you for having us, Community Board 1. So before we get into specific Adopt Your Spot business, we'll talk a little bit about who we are at the Sanitation Foundation. So we are the official nonprofit partner to the Department of Sanitation. I'm sure we're all familiar with what the Department of Sanitation is, right? A little bit about them. 10,000 plus staff, the largest sanitation staff in the country. Department of Sanitation is responsible for collecting our waste, right? 24 million pounds of trash is collected every day by the Department of Sanitation. New Yorkers create 44 million pounds of trash on a daily basis, right? So the Department of Sanitation is out there, 8.5 million residents, 62 million annual visitors to New York City, but the Department of Sanitation cannot do their job alone, right? And that's where we, as the Sanitation Foundation, come in and play a vital role. right? Our role is to transform New Yorkers into active stewards by rolling up their sleeves for a cleaner and healthier and sustainable city. So what does that mean, right? That means we are here speaking to the board, we're talking to students in schools. We are the liaison to the community, right? To make sure that the community understands that the department can't do this job by themselves, right? And that we all have to roll up our sleeves, get active, and play our part in keeping our community clean. Okay, and how do we do that? We do that through a number of our programs. We have our 3 pillars here: our engage, our activate, and our sustain pillars. These are the foundational elements of our foundation and how we like to reach out to the community, right? Under engage, education and awareness. I mentioned schools. I saw a lady up there throw hands in the air. So we definitely focus on education, K to 12 education. We also have adult education. You see my shirt right here. Our Trash Academy is a very, very popular program, 10-module program where it's a really deep dive into New York City waste history. So we provide education from the littles all the way up to, any age, right? Providing information and education to let New Yorkers know about why it's important to be stewards of the community, right? Our activate, we're volunteering. We have our cleanups. We're making sure everyone gets active out there, right? And then we have our sustain, which is kind of what we're going to talk about today, is how do we sustain the education and the volunteering for a longer effort and longer impact, right? Not just coming out, cleaning up and putting a Band-Aid on it, but letting folks understand that this is a continuous process. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Under our sustain model, we have our community stewards program, but we have our adopt your spot program, which is what we're going to speak about today. Okay. Why should we care about litter? Now, this crew right here, everyone here, I'm pretty sure understands why we should care about litter, right? Right? You guys are the ones that are making sure that the community out here is aware. So this is a great audience to talk about this, but we'll just breeze through this a little bit. We know litter attracts rats, right? We do not like these folks. We don't like them, right? We want them out of our community. DSNY containerization, right, is going to be enforced starting this June. So we want to make sure that everybody has their bins, and does their best to get their bins and containerize their trash, right?
You don't like Mickey?
We do not like Mickey. No, we are not fans of Mickey. We want to make sure he does not, his friends, his babies, right? They don't get in our trash, okay? So these are some of the issues that litter causes. Litter causes flooding, right? Much of the Bronx is in a flood zone, hazardous conditions. Once it rains, flooding clogs storm drains. Litter clogs our storm drains, right? Which creates flooding, right? So this is one of the many reasons why we want to remove litter from our streets. Washes up on our beaches. 44% of our properties in the South Bronx are at risk of flooding, right? So that's some data right there that lets us know, simple things like clearing our storm drains can help us in a great deal. Litter is harmful to street trees. I heard someone talk, I don't know if it was Caesar, you're talking about the street trees or cleaning up the tree pits, but trees are very important, obviously vital to our air and to us just having a sustainable city. So us keeping our tree pits looking like this does no help for us, right? Okay, right. I think that's a right. All right, so that leads us to the program that we're here to talk about, our Adopt Your Spot program. And I'm going to pass it over to Halima, and she's going to give us a little more information.
Absolutely. I think it's really apt to follow this conversation, the conversation from the assembly woman talking about the entire waste kind of pipeline, or the way that our waste is created and then how we deal with it downstream. So reducing and changing the strategy for what is created as waste is one thing, and we talk about that in our Trash Academy and so forth. But then what we do with the waste that already exists and the litter and the issues that we're facing every day when we walk down the street are also things that our organization is thinking about. And so Adopt Your Spot is just one of the programs that we have, and it's really about taking pride in our city and thinking about how we can change the culture of our city to be a clean city culture. And so that means that individuals recognizing their own responsibility to take care of the city that we love. Knowing that DSNY has a job to do and there's always room for their improvement. Businesses have work that they need to do and there's room for improvement. But then there's also room for everyday New Yorkers to roll up their sleeves and take action. This video may or may not play, but we did a campaign last year to ask what are New Yorkers saying and recognize that New Yorkers take a lot of pride in being New Yorkers. Even the ones who've only been here for a few years or even a few months. You
like to
move
claim
here and you
that.
think you're better than everybody else because you're from New York. But most New Yorkers, 80%, also see it as a problem. Our city is dirty and so many parts of the city are dirty. And so we worked with a board to, I don't know if this is gonna. Okay, to do a PSA that I don't think we can play from this presentation, all about don't do New York City dirty. Basically, love your borough, love your city, and when you do that, you take care of it. You're not gonna throw something on the ground, you're not gonna litter because you recognize how much you care about this place. What Adopt Your Spot is and what it asks New Yorkers to do is take care of the spot that you love. So I know a lot of folks are like, never gonna go to Times Square, never gonna go to a spot that is not somewhere that's important to you, but the street corner by, on your block, the tree bed in front of your building, the park where you walk your dog every day, there's spaces that we care about, we love, we spend time in, and to see folks trash it, not take care of it, leave their pizza boxes out, leave stuff in ways that it shouldn't be left is really frustrating and hurtful. So one of the ways that we ask New Yorkers to take action and get involved is to just adopt a spot. And the adoption is whatever size spot feels good to you, whatever spot you care about. So we don't put restrictions on what you can adopt as long as it's public space. You can't adopt somebody else's backyard. But all we ask is that you pick out the spot, you tell us where it is, we actually put it on the map along with why you adopted it, why you care about it, what's important, and then you choose to keep it clean in whatever way fits your lifestyle. So signing up to adopt is not you signing up to, clean hours a week, every week in a way that is unsustainable. It's really about making a decision and pledging to yourself first, to your community, to make a small change. And that means maybe you just take a picker out or you take a plastic bag when you go for a run or when you take your kids to the park or when you take your dog for a walk. And you pick up those few things that you see that are bothering you. Jahadi showed a picture earlier of some of those before and afters, right? Just to clear out a storm drain and see the benefit is one, you feel better, but also people walk by and they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate it. It shows the care and the love for the places that we live. Absolutely. And so each spot on this map is a spot that's been adopted by someone. And you can click on our interactive map and it actually says what the spot is, why it was chosen. And some of those reasons are, this area is always filthy and I want to make a difference and hopefully inspire others. Some are just, I want to be part of my community. I want to see my community clean. It's near my apartment and I aspire to have a clean walk. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a deep and fraught thing. It's just, I care, I want to do something small to make a difference. And so what we offer is our kit just includes some of the basics to get started. It's a very cute tote, but inside are gloves, a litter picker, some trash bags, and a guide on how to start. And so we're giving them out today, and they'll be with Pedro for the rest of the spring.
Yeah, for as long as they last.
Who are interested in adopting a spot. And so what we have in the presentation is, of course, a QR code for folks who want to take the pledge. If you'd like to do it today, you can walk out of here with a kit. or if you think of others in your community that you know of who are either already doing this work or looking for a way to get started, this is one of the easiest entry points into connecting with neighbors, making a positive change in the community, and also feeling like there's something that you can do to make an impact. And I think that's one of the biggest benefits that we've seen are folks who recognize that, oh, it's not hopeless, and our situation is not too large. One of the things that we included in the end of the presentation is just a reminder of the other resources that are available. We're not asking folks to become superheroes or to replace the work that DSNY and others are already doing. It's just to consider what is our role in caring for our city. So I've been going nonstop and I feel myself going faster and faster. So I'm gonna stop and see if there's any questions that you have about this program, about the work that we do, and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation. We truly appreciate it. Pedro, I think that, you know, something that's recurring in our conversations here in the community is that I feel like when it comes to our neighborhoods, we are always expecting someone else to pick up things for us, to clean up things for us. So I appreciate programs like these that actually encourage people because it gives them a sense of ownership, right?
Absolutely.
You can only take care or love the things that you feel belong to you.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I feel like we can also do a better job of educating folks with regards to how to engage with agencies like sanitation. You know, what are the schedules to pick up trash? How do you recycle? How do you make sure that you're taking the trash out on the days that you're supposed to do that? And other initiatives that I believe are so essential in our community because we do have really big problems when it comes to sanitation. And it's very unfortunate. So perhaps part of a larger conversation, I would love to learn more about the work that the Sanitation Foundation is doing to support or launch other initiatives. Like one of the things that we would love to see is how can we give people the tools that they need if they want to start a clean your block initiative on a particular day, partnering up with several organizations and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
So I would like to use this opportunity to invite you, Pedro, as well, so we can have a conversation, see who else should be part of it. And maybe perhaps we could even do a pilot program where we focus on a couple of blocks and see how things are changing, and perhaps that leads the way and we can create more change across our district. I would love to encourage people to sign up now. It looks like an amazing initiative. I would love to adopt a spot. Definitely. We have issues with dogs pooping everywhere. We don't have, I don't think, I'm not that I am aware, I don't know how many dog parks we have, but it is a need in our community now. Things are changing and our families definitely have pets. How can we support? How can we educate people? It sounds like unreal that you have to educate people on that front, but that's the reality that we have. So I am wondering, how else can we be more impactful? And with that, I'm going to take 2 questions from the floor, 2 or 3 questions, and if you can limit it 2 questions, because we have a packed agenda tonight, and I want to be mindful of the time. Okay, so Josephine?
You mentioned you're partnering with the schools. I happen to live on a block where there's a building with 3 schools, and it is the biggest offender of garbage and stuff on the block.
Right.
And if it's a windy day, it'll come all the way down the block because people open the bags. They got those plastic bins, but they have so much garbage that it overflows. So it's, defeats the purpose. They don't recycle. Okay, so they have food products with garbage. They don't take out their plastic. So then the people going by break a bag to do that. That's number 1. Number 2, and I think it's important to introduce it to the kids.
Absolutely.
Not only the garbage, but I mean, when I was a kid, I remember you taking that piece of garbage until we find the garbage can. You're having that piece of garbage with you. I don't think that happens too much anymore. Number two, we spoke about the dog poop. That's a big problem in our area. Number three, I started a block association so that all the people on my block, and it's mostly private houses, they know the rules for sanitation. They know when garbage goes out. They know what they need to put in the garbage. They need to have their trash cans, their compost bins, the days when they need to bring it in, the times, because they're going to start finding people with no compost, and they're going to start finding people that don't have the garbage cans. Thank you.
Yes, schools. So you want us to speak to schools?
Yes.
Yes. So schools are a city of their own,
Yep.
right? As many of us know, and New York Department of Sanitation is responsible for picking up waste from schools, right? But the issue with schools is that in itself, they are a city of their own. So with this custodial staff, oftentimes you find in schools, the custodial staff, the administration, the students, no one's on the same page, right? The custodians are doing their thing. The students might not be sorting. The students are sorting. The custodians aren't. The custodians aren't separating and putting it in the proper bins, right? So it's very hard sometimes to get schools on the same page. And that's what we do. We go into schools, we offer waste audit training, which is a great way to get everyone in the school, custodians, principal, students, and teachers on the same page. We put them in the cafeteria and we do a live waste audit, right? And show them the data of what you're doing and what you should be doing and how that's impacting the environment. So we're all about education and advocacy, before enforcement. Obviously, we don't enforce. The Department of Sanitation does the enforcement, but we like to bring the education and the advocacy to people to let them know these are the rules, right? This is the ramifications of the environmental ramifications, right? Of breaking those rules. And, it's best to comply, obviously, if you want to have a safe and clean city to live in. So that's how we approach schools. We have our programmings and we go into schools, but it's definitely not an easy nut to crack,
Thank you so much, Archie.
Now, let me understand, your organization's name is Sanitation Foundation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yep.
I want to be directly in touch with you.
Sure.
And how can, even as an organization, we're already on that pledge.
Okay.
Because I'm already around for example, I belong to the community garden. We clean up around there every day, and every day it's dirty.
Yep.
People leave their mattresses. Okay, I'm getting ready to, I have reported many times to 311, but I want to learn more about reporting the illegal dumpings that go on in our areas. Like she said, I started a coalition, Stop the Dog Manure.
Right.
Is the name of my coalition, and everybody's hopping on that band because everybody agrees this situation gets worse and worse and worse. But I want to know, why isn't the law being enforced? When I was a kid growing up, if a person didn't clean up after their dog, they got a nice chunky summons. So I do want to partner with you, and I want to make sure I have your contact source. And do you have like a website even?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll share that. Yep. We'll
So
share
I could Google Sanitation Foundation. Is that your website there?
Our website is sanitationfoundation.org.
Okay.
Right. www.sanitationfoundation.org. Right. And you can contact us there, and we have a QR code. The QR code that's on the other side.
Yeah.
We are definitely encouraging everyone here to sign up and adopt. You can fill it out and you will get your kit today. But that QR code will also lead you to our site where you can subscribe to our newsletter, right, and find out more information on everything.
Thank you. I will be doing that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And one last question.
Sorry, go ahead.
So we doing what you were saying about different organizations. We doing that already. So Ben and I decided to adopt the Avenue area.
Okay.
And then he's gonna adopt. He was thinking of adopting my area.
Awesome.
So we're switching that. So
Nice.
I sent out a form for adopt the block, but I haven't seen that email or anything. So I'm not
Okay.
sure what's happening.
So I got to follow up with you.
So we're doing that. So we're gonna talk later. We had a different conversation, organic
About-
stuff
yeah.
and all that stuff. That's great what you're doing. So The question here has to do with, I was part of the green infrastructure plan, so I was with DEP.
Those are your
And then-
question.
Yeah, but he needs to know what it is, so DEP, we have the green infrastructure plan. So right now, it will change in 2024, that focuses on drainage areas, because a lot of traffic going there, so have you been in touch with DEP regarding the green infrastructure plan? Because they deal with the trash and all that stuff, so have you been in touch with that agency?
So we were in touch with them when they launched a pilot program for adopting storm drains, which they initiated in Greenpoint. We have not been back in touch with them to see if they have plans to expand that program beyond the initial Greenpoint. But we are looking to them to make sure that we're supporting their efforts to keep storm drains clean. And it's one of the primary spots that many of our adopters either adopt a specific storm drain or they include cleaning storm drains as part of their initiative.
So they all, in the green infrastructure plan, they also had tree pits and all that stuff, swales and all that, that's part of the plan, so you be in discussions regarding that part of the project with the swales and
Yes,
tree
we don't
pits and
have
all that
any,
stuff?
we don't have any official
Yeah.
collaboration with
But
them,
they
but we
do
know
that
that
as
our
well.
work is intended
Yeah.
to support their work.
Okay,
Thank you so much. So the sanitation foundation is a separate effort from any government entity.
Right, we are, our charter, we came out of, or we were initiated from the Department of Sanitation, and we work closely with them, but we don't receive any funding from the department. We work, grant funding and discretionary funding to run programming in the 5 boroughs.
Who's the president of the organization?
We are in a leadership transition, and we do not currently have a president.
Okay, and so you would receive funding from like the local elected officials if they wanted to do more of this work in their communities, right?
Absolutely discretionary funding.
Okay.
And sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to give a shout. I know we already did, but I want to give a shout out to Pedro and the 3rd Avenue Bid for providing these kits, right, for the community. I'm going to be the kit model, all right, and I'm going to show you all what's inside the kit. We already spoke about it a little bit, but
Can I have something that would allow me to pick up dog poop without touching?
yeah, well, this, if it's in a bag, this works well, right? But if it's not in the bag, if it's not in the bag, then your best bet is your best bet is to, get a shovel and broom. But yes, the kits come with this wonderful picker here that's branded with our Don't Do NYC Dirty PSA. It comes with the pamphlet, right? And it comes with 10 garbage bags and a pair of gloves, right? So, like we said before, we certainly encourage everyone, if you're here now and you would like a kit before you go, please fill out and take your pledge. Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
gonna take my pledge for a corner.
Okay.
On 138, but I'm wondering if we assemble like a group of students and volunteers, could we do an event to perhaps bring awareness about the program, and maybe we can pick like a corridor and just walk down that corridor and just to bring awareness about it?
Yes, we're happy to do more. Like I said, this is the beginning of a larger initiative. We really want to get the community. What we really want to do is we want to approach this issue from a community building and a positive standpoint instead of a punitive, which is usually the response of like tickets, punitive. And we want to change the culture of like this being something important. I think a lot of people take for granted that waste is just handled by someone else, like you were saying. And so we want to change that narrative. So we want to do more community engagement. We want to do more cleanup series. I was just talking to the assembly member, Chantel Jackson, who wants to do a cleanup series with assembly member Septimo and the bid and get people to come out. We want to do these things more regularly, and we are open. The bid is open to purchasing more kits down the road so that people have them and feel empowered to clean up certain areas. But I do think a lot of it is talking to people and getting them to care, and the community like also paying attention, right? And people not being afraid to be like, hey, clean up after yourself, or there's a litter basket over here, or would you like a cleaning kit? I know sometimes those conversations are difficult, but we want to build that culture in this area, particularly because we know that in a lot of low-income areas, like someone was mentioning, there is a lot of illegal dumping, and we want to change sort of the perception that this is not a dumping ground. People live here, people work here, and people shop here. So yes, to answer your question, we definitely want to do more of these.
Thank you all so much for taking the time to
Absolutely.
do this presentation. Thank you for the work you're doing.
We want to make sure that you take note of, there is a customer service number for the Department of Sanitation, in addition to 311, it's put in your pack. So make sure that you take advantage of that. And we will be in the Bronx for the summer cleanup series in partnership with the Yankees again, so we'll let you know when that's happening.
You will be a part of that.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's very important indeed.
Thank
Very
you all
important.
so much.
Thank you.
So, with that, I would like to move on to the next portion of the agenda, and it is the street code renaming request. And we have two presentations tonight. One is on behalf of Honorable Linda L. Duke, and the other one is on behalf of William Anthony Colon Roman. So I would like to invite Linda Duke's family, Aisha Holland and Nicole McQueen. Oh, Taisha. Thank you. Yes, how much time do they have, Anthony?
15 minutes, Chair.
15 minutes.
I don't think I need 15 minutes. Being in this room is an honor and it's bittersweet. I used to pay for the Ubers for her to get here and leave here. My grandmother is community. You can't be on 138th and Alexander and you don't know her name. She did so many teen programs, senior programs. She's a part of y'all. She was a part of your board. She had wears a lot of hats. My aunt did write a speech for me, but I can't put the words to it. But I know that mostly everything that's important she did put on the paper. It's still a little bittersweet for us. It doesn't make too much so far. But my grandmother is community. A lot of y'all in this room probably know my grandmother or been around her. She was a breath of fresh air. So we're asking for 130th and Alexander, between 137th and Alexander to be her street. Her building was a 205, actually the building that blew up. She lived there for 60 years. She was the community board leader of that community. She was the president of that project. She did so many things for that street. I believe that it's only right for her to have that name. And I don't need 15 minutes, but thank you for letting us come and ask for the street sign. Thank you. Do I have to ask for questions or anything?
For how many years did Miss Duke live there?
60 years. She actually was the first person.
How many?
60 years.
60 years.
She was the first person in that apartment. She wanted to be home, so we actually made her apartment hospice. That's where she wanted to be for her last couple of days.
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much. You know, we are honored to have had Ms. Duke as one of our leaders. I don't think I had the opportunity to work with her as much as I would want it, because, you know, other chairs had that privilege and had that luxury, but I did have the opportunity to work with her when the Mitchell houses, when the collapse occurred, right?
Yes.
That's when we became closer, supporting the families and organizing, and she was also a great resource and an asset to this community board. So Anthony can explain what is the process from now on. I don't think that we have too many questions for you, but we can answer some questions. And
I want to read it to the record, the information, because that's important to why we're here today. Okay?
Thank you.
So this is a street code renaming in honor of the Honorable Linda L. Duke to create 137th Street and Alexander Avenue after the Honorable Linda L. Duke. As the chair mentioned, we all remember that Ms. Duke was an integral part of this community board and was an elected official, a former elected official who served, and as the chair talked about, was even due to the partial building collapse in Mitchell houses, was active even at the age of 80 to ensure that all the residents, hundreds of residents, had adequate shelter and housing. And that was her primary. She didn't want to even go to stay with family, even though she had the opportunity. So I'm gonna add to that stuff. So the purpose is that the families are respectfully requesting the co-renaming of the street in honor of the Honorable Linda L. Duke, a devoted servant and humanitarian, tireless community advocate, and a pillar of strength within the Bronx community. The recognition will ensure that her legacy of compassion, service, empowerment continues to inspire future generations. For those who did not know Ms. Duke was a woman of unwavering dedication whose life, work centered on uplifting others, known of being a small and statured woman, but yet very impactful. And I'm paraphrasing, not reading word for word, but all those who know Ms. Duke. You know, I just wanted to share a small story. When I was leading an elected official office as a young man, one of the first persons I had the opportunity to meet was Ms. Duke. And I'm much taller than her, but that didn't mean anything to her. She stepped up to the plate and said, "Now that you're there, what are you going to do for us?" And that's a small part of a woman who always demand that while you're in a seat, how are you going to honor that seat versus and deserve that seat versus just sitting in that seat and accomplishing nothing for the community. She constantly showed us that her community showered us with love, strength, and purpose. Our contributions included advocacy of the underserved community, mentorship and guidance for youth and families, leadership in community-based initiatives, and a lifelong commitment to serve compassionately with unity. She was more than just a community member. She was a cornerstone, a voice for the voiceless, and a true queen whose legacy lives on. The reason for the street co-renaming will be in honor for permanently recognizing her contribution in a very small way to the Bronx community, celebrating the legacy rooted in service and humanity, providing a place of remembrance and inspiration, and to affirm the value of community leadership and grassroots impact. I want to just also mention that this is an initiative that was supported largely by the elected officials who were represented in the Mitchell Houses Committee and the South Bronx Committee, which is all part of our community board, and that it was definitely something that was supported by the local council members. Something of the with that, it is the district manager's recommendation that Ms. Duke, because of her legacy and impact of work, have been able to definitely be able to meet the requirements of the New York City Council and the Department of Transportation with proceeding forward with this committee's recommendation to have a likely street co-renaming. I'm sure our family would be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, and that's gonna be, look, I wanna recruit the members of this committee and any other committees that would like to participate. It should be a beautiful celebration. We're happy to support the planning. Just make it really, really nice. For
May
the
I ask
family.
a quick question?
I'm going to take one more question so that we can move on. to
Just a quick question. How soon can this become real? How,
Anthony can elaborate more on that process.
Sure. So this process is that it has to be passed by this committee and then passed by the full board and then introduced to the then sent with a full package to the city council member. The city council only meets about street co-renaming twice a year. So it must, and then once it passes the city council will work with the family to design a ceremony where we'll be unveiling the sign.
So let me ask, can we even do it on a local level and then let it be official by the city? Or it's better to just pass it through the whole thing?
It is only one way. It has to be
I
passed
see.
one process.
It's only one process.
Okay.
And it's
I
not, look, it's one process. The city council has a department that deals with all of that. They put together the plate that goes on the street. People are given several options. It's a fairly straightforward process once there's support from the community. So what we have to do is to vote. We're gonna take the votes now.
Well, I'm sure it's gonna be unanimous, I don't see another reason. I think this is gonna be an automatic unanimous.
Order, please.
I make a motion that we accept the street co-naming for Honorable Linda L. Dukes Way on East 137th Street and Alexander Avenue.
I would like to second. Okay, go ahead.
Second the motion.
Discussion on the
Mhm.
motion.
No.
Roll call.
Roll call, yeah.
Mr. Robert Barnes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Josephine Fernandez Byrne, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mrs. Sessa York, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Andres Miguel, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Argelia Ortiz, how do you vote?
Yes.
For going to South Park tonight, how do you vote? Mr. John Sanchez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairperson Paola Martinez, how do you vote?
Yes.
8 in affirmative, 0 abstentions, 0 in the nays. Madam Chair, the motion is passed.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we look forward to supporting in the process. When the time comes, we will have to notify folks to make sure that everyone who wants to collaborate and be part of it is present. Thank you so much. So, the next topic.
I just want to say that this has to go before the full board
Yes.
on April the 30th, and the meeting will be held at Lincoln Hospital in the auditorium for it has to be confirmed by the full board.
So they're gonna vote again, the full board's gonna vote again. Okay, so if I may, I want to, so the next topic on the agenda, is a street corner naming as well. This time, this one is on behalf of Willie Colon. We have the, I'm not gonna say children because you are all grown up, right? Right? So we have the Willie Colon family with us. If you all want to identify yourself, everyone who is part of the Willie Colon family this evening.
I'm the eldest, I'm William Colon, William David Colon.
Nice to meet you.
I'm next in line, I'm Diego Colon.
Nice to meet you, Diego.
Miguel Colon.
Nice to meet you, Miguel.
Patrick Antonio Colon.
Nice to meet you, Patrick.
I'm William Colon, I'm his grandson.
All boys. No girls?
Oh, there, I have a daughter, she just found out.
A granddaughter.
But he didn't have any girls.
No, but he has grandchildren, great grandchildren.
That's excellent. Okay, so, do we have to read? Okay, so Diego, go ahead.
So there's a pretty extensive bio connected to that paper there. So I mean, maybe one of us will read a section of it, but I just want to start off by thanking you guys for giving us this opportunity to speak with you guys. My name is Alejandro Miguel Colon, one of the sons of Willie Colon, and we are respectfully asking that you consider renaming a section of St. Anne's in the Bronx after my father. He grew up on 139th Street in St. Anne's, a place that he would often describe was like no other place in the world. The legacy that he left us all started right there in those streets. The birth of the iconic musical sound that he developed all started there. Singing and playing his horn on those streets with kids from the neighborhood created revolutionary jam sessions that all started on those streets. On a quiet night, you could surely still hear the distant drums and melodies that once rang loud on those streets. It couldn't and wouldn't have happened anywhere else. He loved his borough and his neighborhood deeply and remained fiercely proud of the Bronx throughout his life. Like the saying goes, you can take someone out of the Bronx, you can never take the Bronx out of someone. This couldn't be more true of my father. No matter where he performed or traveled, no matter who he interacted with or who he worked with, he always made it a point to tell people exactly where he came from. He always represented his hometown with the utmost pride, dignity, and integrity. He credited his success to being raised in the Bronx, the South Bronx in particular. He praised the musical programs of the public school systems at the time, the neighborhoods, the diversity and unique experiences all shaped his attitude toward life. The countless stories that he would share made it certain that his youth and his surrounding circumstances were special and unique. The Bronx was his home. Inscribing his name on the neighborhood that created him couldn't feel more appropriate. It will serve as a proud marker of what the kid from the neighborhood accomplished, as well as an inspiration to the youth growing up in those neighborhoods of what can be achieved. Honoring him with a street name would be a fitting tribute to a Bronx legend who never forgot his roots. Thank you for your time, and we're grateful for your consideration.
Thank you. So,
Yeah,
go ahead.
my name is Diego Colon. Willie Colon was my father. To the world, he was a model of the Bronx. But that wasn't just a title. That was a way of life. He was a New Yorican with a Bronx heartbeat. He carried his borough through his music and through his bones. He never forgot where he came from. It was there in his gritty humor, his tales of El Barrio, vivid memories of scuff-up, stickball at St. Mary's Park, roof-to-roof chases that all kept us captivated. The king of the trombone found his voice right here on the streets, from a loner from Alexander Berger Junior High. He put the Bronx on the map the same way Tito did for Spanish Harlem, Celia did for Havana. Now it's our duty to do the same for him and honor him the same way. As Bronxonians, we must ensure that his home honors him forever. He never forgot us, and now it's time we never forget him.
Thank you.
My name is Patrick Antonio Colon. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that beyond the stage, my father's political vision, public service, and personal aspirations demonstrated a restless spirit that refused to be confined to music. A lifelong activist for Hispanic causes, civil rights, immigration reform, and community empowerment, he channeled this activism into public service, working alongside Mayor David Dinkins as a special assistant and spokesperson for Latino communities from 89 to 93, serving as liaison to Mayor Michael Bloomberg for 12 years. He also ran for United States Congress in 1992. He helped raise his deceased sister's son, in addition to 4 of his own, who are all here today. He represented New York's 17th Congressional District as well in 1992 and in 1994. In 2001, he sought the office of Public Advocate in New York, earning a strong 102,000 votes that underscored his appeal as a community leader. These political runs reflected his deep aspirations to serve and uplift. His personal life aspirations extended beyond politics, forging a profound commitment to the public and public safety. In 2014, at the age of 64, he graduated from the Westchester County Police Academy and was sworn in as a deputy sheriff, fulfilling a long-held personal calling. He rose to deputy lieutenant in 2017, serving with dedication until his retirement in 2022. Even in uniform, the Salsa pioneer remained a force for his people. From church basement rehearsals to global stages, from the grit cement in the sidewalks of the Bronx to the campaign trail, to the sheriff's badge, to the seas he scuba dived and the open skies he piloted, Willie Colon lived an epic life of relentless creation, cultural defiance, unbreakable community, and quiet service. He did not merely play salsa, he remade it in his image, in the Bronx's image, bold, streetwise, socially conscious, and eternal.
I wasn't gonna speak, but since everybody came up, and I didn't have a speech, but I'm just gonna present myself and let you know who I am. I'm the oldest, I'm William Colon. Just to give you a background, my father was in law enforcement. I retired from law enforcement. I retired as a warden. I did 26 years in corrections. When you look at how my father presents himself, whether he's addressing issues in his songs, whether he's addressing issues in Venezuela, whether he's going to see the Pope to try to address the debt, or any other matters that are politically concerning, is because he understands his people. He understands where he came from. Yeah. I build myself the same way, and so do my brothers. I'm a consultant now also. I'm a consultant on public safety. There are things that people are not aware of, and unfortunately, if you don't wear the shoes, you don't know what the problems are. I had the opportunity to take civil service tests, become a correctional officer, moved up the ranks, acknowledge the fact that there's conditions that need to be addressed in society, and I took every effort to get people to understand what the problems, challenges were, and how to resolve them. And I think I'm doing fairly well with that. If people are interested, they can see that there are just like you are here. You're representing your peers. You're representing people that are in your neighborhoods. because you know that there's an atmosphere that has to be represented, because without that, you're just going to be contained as a matter of how they feel or opinions about you, because that's just the way human nature is, and we have to do better. And we thank you for the opportunity, and we're grateful that you're considering this, and once again, I just want to say thank you.
I think that, for those of us that love music, and that love Willie Colon and his legacy, this is an incredible opportunity to contribute and to do just what's right. I also think that, not very often you have the opportunity to honor someone when they are with you. And unfortunately, sometimes we only get the opportunity to do this when people pass away, but I don't think that was the case with Willie Colon. He was a beloved musician, he was an inspiration, and he touched so many lives, including the lives of people that passed before him at an earlier time, people that should have been with us today. I also think that the fact that during the time when he grew up here in the South Bronx and when he was finding his identity as a New Yorican and making music and making all this change, things were so different, right? We still have issues, but the issues that he had to struggle with 20, 30 years ago, even 40 years ago, were very, very different. Today we celebrate the Latino community, the Hispanic culture, but that wasn't necessarily the case back then. So many people found in him, in his music, a voice, that connection, that sense of pride. And that's why, his legacy will live forever. I grew up listening to his songs since I can even remember, back way home in the Dominican Republic. Like in mi barrio, there was Willie Colon. And today, that music is still relevant. Like, there's nothing better today. So I'm like, oh my God, life puts you in places like, little Paola at 7 years old would have been thinking that she was gonna be sharing a community board where we had to do this. So I just think that, it's only fitting to make it right and to support this. If anyone wants to share something, any words of like how we touch your lives personally, how you remember his music, please share. RG.
Well, all I have to say is that I'll never forget Willie Colon. I was a little 6-year-old girl, and my dad took me to my first concert, and I haven't been able to forget him. Because Willie Colon, I'm getting a little sentimental now.
Yeah, too. Yeah,
Willie Colon was the kind of person that made you feel like if he was your next door neighbor.
Yeah,
I was 6 years old, and I haven't been able to stop dancing salsa. That was a big part of my culture. And that was a big part of how I identify as a Latina. Even today, that's never going to die. I want to know, how can we get Willie Colon into the school textbooks? That when the kids are learning about culture and music and history, Willie Colon should be in a normal part of their textbook. I'm going to be working on that personally myself.
Thank you.
These are the kind of figures that we have to make sure that this next generation knows about. Thank you for being here. It's actually an honor to have your presence here. I never thought as a girl as a teenager, I remember going to St. Mary's, going over there, and boy, you would be dancing all night. When it came to Willie, you were going to come home and you were going to be doing salsa until the next morning, So that was an amazing memory. I have sentimental feelings for that, and I want every youth and every youngster to know who Willie Colon was.
Yeah,
and that's all I have to say. I can't say enough about that.
That's a great idea,
Okay.
Pedro. I hope you're gonna say that we can plan a really nice concert at the plaza.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say the Third Avenue Bid's always supportive of celebrating culture and history, and the Puerto Rican community is extremely important to this community in general. So not only in terms of street namings, but we've done murals of different figures. Roberto Clemente Plaza, we celebrated Roberto Clemente there. So we're always open to partnering and celebrating the life and legacy of people who have made such contributions to the community. So I want to just say, if you ever want to speak and have a conversation of how we can do that, not just by a street naming or a mural, but in other ways, we're always happy to talk. We have a
Definitely
street festival coming up in July. There's a lot of different opportunities that we have to celebrate.
Salsa festival in July, you said?
Say that again?
You mentioned a festival in July?
A festival, all kinds of music. Yeah, salsa will be part of it, freestyle music. But there are many opportunities throughout the year for us to celebrate music, culture, and the life of Willie Colon. So definitely let me know.
I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, definitely.
And every year also the Borough President, they put together the Bronx Week. There's also the Bronx Bowl, and they do namings in the Bronx Hall of Fame. They do the induction in the Walk of Fame. So that's something that Anthony and I could provide more information and perhaps. No, there's a process that people have to go through, but I think it's worth the time. So, as RG said, this is now part of culture, our day-to-days. There's amazing contemporary artists right now, but everybody has to know where that inspiration comes from, right? So, if I may please ask Anthony to guide us through the proposal. What are we proposing?
Thank you, Chair. And we are so thank you to the Colon family. I think I've worked with you guys through the entire process. I think you're indulging this process and working with the leadership and myself to ensure that your dad and his work that has inspired so many in so many different ways to be commemorated in this special way. We are working with the leadership as we talked about this point of information. We're working with the New York City Council to work on the hearing from the City of New York on the duration of the blocks if this is passed by the full board and this committee to be able to make that honor possible. I know on the agenda that we have on St. Anne's Avenue, and right now it is from East 146th Street to be determined, but we are still evaluating that. So while this committee will make a determination about to pass a motion, it's indulged the chair and the leadership and the folks of this committee to leave it open, because by the end of this process, when we go into the full board meeting on April 30th, we'll know the duration of where in the South Bronx. We know that Mr. Colon was born on 139th Street between Cypress and St. Anne's. That's right. I got it right? Okay, I'm working on my history. So, but then there is, just like we have so many other of our Latin artists, we're working to make sure that the commemoration can never match the service, but we will try to get as close as possible to it with the work of this board, the family. But we want to also make sure we have clear guidance from the City of New York. So when we have that out, so that's what you see to be determined on the agenda, because we're working with the family in the city to understand what the parameters are, the boundaries are, because the process has changed over the years so many different times, and so we're going to get that. But we know that this is something that this board would like to have the honor to take up, and so we thank you for working with us. I think I almost talk to you guys every night, so or morning. So and then you know that while the committee will make a determination of where to go, the duration of how this will happen will be left open until the determination made by the full board on the 30th, because we should have the guidance from the legal team of the City of New York to move forward with where that will look like. And in addition to, as we said with Ms. Duke, we will have to work with when it's passed to the City Council, and then working with the family to plan a ceremony that will commemorate this legacy.
So
okay?
The proposal,
we're all clear?
The proposal is to submit how many blocks?
We will understand that to be determined we will just make a decision to go forward. This is commemorates, and then we will make that determination at the full board meeting on what the blocks will be.
No, can we have a conversation with the City Council first?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We'll know that. That's what I'm saying. We should know the information. We are in communications with the City Council now when this proposal first came up.
Yeah, so that way when we go to the board, if possible, we have a more concrete proposal. Right. So that way, because there's gonna be.
It has to move out of committee first.
Yeah. Okay. So you got that clear?
I don't
or
know, I
do
don't know if any other questions.
we got that clear, or do we have to provide more?
Does there anyone have any questions about what I just said?
No, I just remember I would say just clarity.
Yeah.
It says to be determined, so
Right.
it was like, what is the process of that? Because we usually don't have that situation
Sure.
sometimes, so.
Right.
So I understand the process, that's
Good.
why I was asking
You good?
you. Yeah, I'm fine.
Perfecto.
Yeah, I just talk about process.
Yes, that's okay. I'm glad to help you with process.
I'm fine with that, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So the city council will be able to provide us with more guidance, right? Yeah. Okay, so can we make a motion to move forward with the request for a street co-renaming for Willie Colon Way?
Okay, I, Argelia Ortiz, would like to pass a motion that we make that way for the William Colon full street. I pass
Well,
that
no,
motion.
how do you, what is the name again?
Willie Colon Way.
William Anthony Colon Roman.
We'll just use Willie Colon.
So we're just gonna use Willie Colon, or would you like to use the full name?
We're gonna use just Willie Colon.
Okay.
That's how the world knows him.
Yeah, Willie Colon Way.
Therefore.
You know that for sure, Willie Colon
Okay.
Way, right? Yes.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
I, Robert Bond, second that motion.
Discussion?
Did we have to put in pending the?
Pending guidance from the city council.
Yeah, pending guidance of the city council. RGI added that.
Okay.
You concur? You do that.
Yes, I concur, yes. Thank you, Josephine.
Can I move
Second on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I move forward, Chair? Mr. Robert Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Josephine Fernandez Burns?
Yes.
Mr. Sessa York?
Yes.
Ms. Argelia Ortiz?
Yes.
Mr. Andres Mago?
Yes.
Mr. John Sanchez?
Yes.
Representing South Bronx Unite?
Yes.
4 East 149th Street at 6 p.m. on April 30th in the auditorium. Thank you, Madam Chair.
much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna have a 1 minute break for those of you, if you need to grab water, use the restroom, feel free to do so. For the street committee, so.
We're gonna get some water.
It's coffee.
Yes.
What happens now?
There's coffee back
It's
there.
a recommendation.
I'm so
There's
sorry.
coffee. Everyone wants coffee. The committee usually process these items, right?
This will be probably the
We
last.
presented the board, the general board,
Yes,
where
you both
all
get
of
I'm
the
into it. I'm into it.
come together to vote on these items. The rule or the expectation is that the general board will accept the recommendations from the committee, right? So we will make a statement in the next meeting that the committee has agreed and has voted in favor of these proposals. And that's usually like that's the there's something very terrible. That people don't be like, how you gonna take it? That's terrible. That usually doesn't happen. No, I didn't. I didn't say
Please, go ahead.
You have an agenda. You don't know where we're going, but I'm down. Let me get a mic. So, I said this so that you plan ahead, that you use your resources wisely, because there's
So you don't forget about
Okay.
And like that lot Okay, so
Oh, you see? No, so you should have straight to play. If you're tweaking already, I can only imagine.
I will be like this.
So we got to prove like 2 years ago. Year and a half. I said year and a half. No, like 2 years. I'm trying to be like you. I'm trying to be like you. Bro, you know when you have all body?
That's what I'm saying.
They got snacks around the table. All of a sudden, Josephine, we got shit from our table now.
I got no
Yo, literally. I record. God. You know, you say my dog when you first met me. How you doing? Order.
John, I'll be nice to you, John.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
I believe in what you do, so I know what you do.
Okay, nos quedamos.
Order, please. All right, we're good to get started?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So tell us, John, what's going on?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. So my name is John Sanchez. Most days you know me as a public member around the table, but today I'm also representing Nos Quedamos as their senior youth leader.
Yeah.
This is
We left the best for last. Okay.
That's right. So we're here today just to provide updates around 2 years ago, we came to the board for approval on these resiliency hubs that we want to place in 3 different locations throughout the South Bronx. Today, we're here to give you guys thanks for the approval that you guys gave us and also give you guys updates on the ongoing projects that we have going on. So I'll pass it over to my team members so that they can introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Imani. I'm the lead resiliency organizer at We Stay North Carolina. Working very closely with these folks, and Lewis and Manny are in the room as well.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Haley and I'm a youth leader at We Say Nos Quedamos as well.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Oh, there we go.
So yeah, just a little bit about who We Stay Nos Quedamos is. Even a short, Nos Quedamos, but very impactful. Our organization has put together the Melrose Commons Urban Renewal Plan, and that's basically Melrose as we know it today. And these are all the folks who are around the table. There was a lot happening in those times, the 70s, 80s, 90s, just really what I want to highlight is, folks around the table wanted to prevent displacement. And again, we're seeing a lot of that coming up in our, present and future of just Melrose and other South Bronx, greater areas. So highlighting that, just a quick note, we have the Melrose Urban Renewal Plan 2034 campaign coming up. More on that to come with NQs, we're gonna do a little announcement about that. But yeah, that's highlighting, basically we're seeing full circle coming, right? We had community members who realized, things were changing in their neighborhood and they wanted to stop themselves and their family members from being displaced. We're seeing similar things happening today. And we need to have those conversations with each other to stop that again from happening. So we need to band together again to create that plan. And that's basically what that comes. But today we're here to talk about resiliency. So I'm going to go into that a little bit more. But before that,
So we just wanted to talk a little bit about what we do and kind of reintroduce ourselves for those that don't know us. So we have 5 pillars of work that we do. So the main one is, the first one is advocacy and empowerment. And this basically means that we organize and help residents advocate for community needs. That's why we're here today. We make sure that residents, their concerns, we make sure that we bring it up to you guys in any capacity we can. We also help with neighborhood revitalization. So that's improving infrastructure, beautifying public spaces, and addressing blight or environmental concerns. So me and John and Amani are part of the Environmental Justice Youth Team. EJ is very close to our hearts, and that's what we fight for. Another pillar is affordable housing. So right now we have 22 buildings in our portfolio, and we fully own 4. We fully own 4 of them, sorry, because we're about to own 5. 6. We're about to own 6. Oh my gosh, we're about to own 6. So in our affordable housing development, that means we have buildings or housing to ensure that residents have access to safe and affordable living spaces. And then with economic development, we support local businesses, workforce development, and job creation. And then in community service, we provide social services through our housing team, such as childcare, education, healthcare, and or financial literacy.
So as I shared earlier, I'm a senior youth leader in Nos Quedamos. I basically support the youth development within the organization. And how do we do this? So Nos Quedamos partnered alongside CUNY and NAGE to develop a curriculum, 10 modules, in order to ensure that we educate the youth on affordable housing and environmental justice so that they can learn to advocate for their communities. As Imani shared, the Melrose Urban Renewal Plan that we have is endangered of being wiped out, right? How can we raise awareness about that? So it's my job to facilitate these 10 modules to the youth. And these youth are going to facilitate these modules to community members so that they can learn to advocate for their needs, advocate for their community, and gain skills in order to advocate for things such as the preservation of the urban renewal plan that we have coming up that's endangered from being wiped out.
Yeah, just a little bit more on the hubs. I know John touched on that a little bit with, how we're trying to take the youth modules into the hubs and those concepts into the hubs. But yeah, just a little bit more on the hubs themselves. So, right, we want to have more training sessions like that, more community-led sessions. You know, we have we've been fortunate enough to have two folks, our hub team leads, who are managing both of these sites. So they're making sure that, you know, we're getting events that our community members want to see, but they're also making sure that we're thinking about emergency preparedness and how we want to act in those times of need, because again, that's a very real issue, and that's again what the hubs were mainly designed for. So we have these three things. So it's like the day to day, the during emergency, and then the after emergency is how we would. It lays out how we would take action. I'm not going to go into it now, but yeah, that those are the main pieces of how the hub would function. And yeah, the gardens, they host free workshops and trainings. There are a few coming up. So we have emergency preparedness, stop and bleed, and CPR. We have some gardening, food distribution, farmers markets, cooking demos, etc. Those types of things coming up. Okay. And no, go ahead. Yeah, and then these are just where the hubs are located. So one on 138th and Grand Concourse, one on 754 Bronx Avenue. Right
What
behind
is
our
on 138th
headquarters.
and Grand Concourse?
That's
The
La
beach?
Finca Lesser.
Ah, yes,
It's a garden.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Bronx Sunshine Garden. That's on 174th and Bryant.
Yeah.
Bryant Ave.
Right.
Yeah, and then I'll invite Luis to share a little bit more about what's coming up at La Finca.
Hello, everybody. My name is Luis Rodriguez. I am the hub leader and the farm manager at La Finca del Sur. So for April 2nd already passed, but we had the spring plant starters that NYRP provided. April 11th, which is this Saturday, we're going to be having a shiitake mushroom workshop that NYRP is also hosting. April 12th is the application deadline for a really cool Bee University Urban Beekeeping Fellowship, which is basically going to be bringing youth from the community to learn how to be a beekeeper, and also they're going to have classes across the street. And then April 24th, Green Gorillas is going to be coming for a volunteer day. And then we're also, we just got a NYRP renovation with all these new beds over here. So we're in need of community volunteers and members. So if anybody's interested, we're on 138th and Grand Concourse. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. Thank you so much. Is there any possibility, can you go back to the youth curriculum model slide? So one of the things that I wanted to discuss with the leadership at the board is like, how can we create some youth leadership opportunities for folks here, for the students? Let's say, for example, we have a civic engagement program, something. Think of a name. The goal being that we want to recruit people from the community who want to learn about this kind of work, who can also learn about it and explore and think about it from the community board perspective, right? Like, for example, how community boards can be essential to facilitating the work that you are doing. So, but unfortunately, we have limited resources too, in terms of resources. So I was wondering if there's a way in which perhaps we could partner with the community board office by either hosting the trainings for what you already have here in our office. You know, I want to go beyond doing outreach together and promoting what you're doing. I would like to host so that when we are calling people, we can then join efforts and say, you know what, your organization with Community Board One it's offering this opportunity. I mean, if we need to provide food or something, or perhaps we can discuss that. But if there's something that we can collaborate as well, because I know that you're using your limited resources, but you already have a content. I don't think that we want to reinvent the wheel. We just want to make sure that people are being engaged and that they can contribute and give back to the community board, because we want to also ensure that more young people are applying to the community board. And the way that they're gonna do that is if they see that we're adding value. If they're learning a skill that they can later on use in their resumes, apply for a job, apply for college, and do things of that nature, we can incorporate a piece on what a community board is and how do community boards perhaps support or facilitate working on projects for the community, right? And engage with elected officials. As you saw, we have legislators who come here, they talk about their bills. So at some point in the development of the work that you do, we play, even if it's a small role, but we play a role, right? So I'm wondering if there's a way, you don't need to give me an answer now, but we can discuss it. If there's a way, especially this summer, if we can host your trainings or do something in collaboration so that we can offer these opportunities to young people.
Yeah. Are you saying to host our trainings here, or for you guys to be on site at the hubs?
I think that's a discussion.
Yeah.
If we could host people here, that then they can go to your hubs, right? But we help with their recruitment, we give them a training, and then, I mean, they can go whichever they have to go to do the field work.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. I know, right, you can speak with Louis and Nancy about that as the leads on their site. But for NQs, I think, you would talk to us a little bit about that as
Are
well.
you working at the botanical garden?
I used to.
Because I actually have when you were doing the presentation, we can touch base on this. I have a student, well, she's actually a professional already, but she wants to do a program on something at the botanical garden where they teach you how to plant and do tons of, but I've learned from her experience that it's very difficult to even get their attention.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they recruit from outside of New York State, people who come to New York to do this kind of work here. But I think it's more challenging from those people interested that are born and raised from the Bronx, because one, they don't know about the botanical garden programs. And two, it's just, sometimes they don't have the education and the credentials to even be part of it. So I thought this could be a good entry level, but there are kids dreaming of working at the botanical garden.
Should we
That
have
I
them
know.
come to the Youth and Education Committee and maybe
I
start
was,
there?
I was gonna say, so I'm currently a member of Youth, Young Adults, and Education. So yeah, definitely if we could touch base, that'd be great.
Yeah,
And we also
absolutely.
have a book exchange where we're also exchanging flyers with other people who cross and just exchange a book. We hand flyers at the community board and other resources. So if you'd like to maybe draft something, I would have to speak to the chair for that committee, but I think that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
great. I had conversations with Steven actually on bringing literacy workshops to the hubs as well.
Oh, okay.
So there is definitely potential collaboration with that.
For sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Touch base, yeah.
And I want to add, Chair, that the way I got to meet these great young professionals is that the community board, since I came on, has been engaging our young people, especially in the summer, to attend the multiple workshops and engagements that they've had, either at Los Cananos or at other institutions throughout the district. And with the leadership's understanding, we would still love to do that, because we want to continue to build on youth ambassadors around the environmental justice and some of the other great things that I have grown to love about the work they are doing in Los Cananos.
Yes. Thank you, Anthony. How many students do you usually have in your cohorts?
Currently we have 3, but we are hopeful to have around 10 students in participating in the curriculum this summer.
Yeah. What
We're
are
both students from CUNY and SYP as well.
Oh, SYP.
Yes.
So what are you hosting your trainings now?
Currently we are doing them in our office, but we are hopeful in doing the trainings, and there is a link to help as well. Yes.
Okay, so let's continue the conversation. I know SYP students, they get paid to participating, right? So that's why you're gonna be training the students that get assigned to you through SYP, so they're gonna get a stipend, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so let's continue the conversation. I
Awesome.
appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
I share that these, some of these participants are here are hopeful incoming community board members.
Yes, they put in an application.
Oh,
I would also like to add that we have a youth symposium coming up on June 5th. I will extend an invitation to you all. But with the current youth that we have going on and participating in these modules, they actually have capstones to showcase the skills that they were able to gain from this project coming up. So I'm hopeful you guys will be there.
How many people do you expect in your youth symposium?
We are hoping to have between 100 and 150 folks. We are hopeful to have it located at MCNY, Metropolitan College in New York.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
well,
149.
the only thing that I want to slightly say, we could have, perhaps we can present that to our youth committee.
That's what I said.
And, yeah, okay, yeah, and, you know,
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure
this
that
could
they will
be
be
a call.
interested.
I don't want them to have to come to another committee and another committee, so we could coordinate a call.
Okay, yeah.
Because they already presented to this committee, so, you know, if anything, we could arrange something for the general board as an information point. We can figure out what's the best way, you know?
Yeah, our team would be happy to present, more about the curriculum and other works that we have going on at the general board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys for your approval once again.
A reminder that the Bronx Community Board 1 and NIPA is hosting a workshop on May 26th. This is the workshop that Cesar has been.
May 2nd.
May 2nd, 2026. This is the workshop that you've been working on, Cesar, right?
Yeah, so,
Do you wanna explain?
the workshop, okay, so New York Power Authority, they wanted to have 2 workshops, but they couldn't do it, so they only had to have one, that's weatherization workshop. So then they have weatherization kits that they want to bring, so the plan that Sandy was like, to have it here May 2nd, max 30 people. We were asking if we could put in YouTube, but they said they won't allow that, so we cannot have no YouTube stuff. It has to be strictly here, and then get outreach for 30 people. Right now, the lady who's sending emails to you, so you have to ask. Anthony. You gotta ask Anthony about those things because she was going to Anthony and you to get a response. So, for that, I don't know what the response was. If
response for what?
She, in response, what she was asking, like 3 to 4 questions. In that response, she was asking those questions to Anthony and whoever was there. So,
Because I sent an email, I responded that I wanted the description of what the presentation was going to be, something like that. I asked for us to jump on a call because there were so many emails. At some point, I lost track.
yeah, so I remember you responded to that, but it wasn't no response to the other stuff because it was saying that let's put a time that we could all meet together to discuss this, but then that just stopped.
I mean, she's the presenter, right? So if we can just have a brief call and then we are on April 9th, we want to make sure that we're promoting to get those folks in the room or on the call for our training.
Yeah, so okay, there are a couple of things. So we have a bunch of emails. That's a problem. It creates confusion with a bunch of emails. So, to what I understand, there was a response, and then with you stating that we were going to meet together, and Anthony, you, I think it was Josephine, Byrne, and Ambrose, meet together to discuss what the board would do on that day, and then that information would be sent to Ixie, I think it is, from NIPA, so she knows what the thing is, and then she already sent a flyer. She sent a flyer, which is a bunch of emails anyway. So it's in our email. So she said we have a flyer here. So if you want other organizations to support, we could ask you to put the logo there. So, but then that might not happen.
No,
So
that's actually not.
yeah, that's what she was saying.
That's not the main point of. I just want for us to jump on a call.
Yeah.
So we can align on what the presentation is going to look like, and we can assign the tasks. Hey, We're gonna be promoting. We have the flyer. This is the description of the presentation, what people should expect.
Yeah.
They're gonna be presenting. We're just gonna introduce them. If we can prepare questions in advance, that would be great. But I just wanna make sure that if we are using their time to present, that they're preparing something, that we are also ready for them and that we can advertise accordingly. Because the worst thing that can happen is that they use up all of their energy and resources to plan a presentation and only 3 people show up to the call or to the meeting, right? So I think that as we are, I want us to get on the habit of being more organized when it comes to planning presentation. And this is not for you only, Cesar. I just want us to be more organized because when we're planning events, I'm gonna put as an example the immigration form. Let's have a proposal. Everything in writing so we know what are all the pieces that need to come together for the event to be successful or the presentation to be successful and who is doing what. And then we just check in on things because I feel like sometimes we are expecting that this person is doing something, but it happens that that person is actually not doing it. And that's how things kind of like fall apart. So I have your requests, right? Also, these requests need to be approved prior to us committing to hosting them. So that way we can guarantee that either Josephine or myself are available on the day that we're scheduling for things to happen. Because we always want to make sure that either Josephine or myself are covering these events. That's all. But I really appreciate, Cesar, what you're doing. Let's bump that conversation up. If we think that May 2nd is still the best time to do it, fine. If not,
So it's, you see, they were saying that May 2nd is the time they could do it. They could do it. So
That's their availability.
that's their availability.
Okay.
After that, it was like, so this been going on for 7 months, so
Yes.
it kind of like tricky. So I will, the proposal was sent to everybody, so we know there was 30 people that was sent to everybody. But the last thing was we had to, they were
I'm
asking
sorry.
people to schedule our time, because I sent it out, I'm available on Thursday. We had, the next step was to reschedule when we were available, so we could
Okay.
meet. That was the last thing we were talking about.
okay, Cesar.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, and this is where I want us to be strategic. Their proposal was sent. They indicated their availability. Why wasn't that part of the conversation during one of the committee meetings with a printed proposal to make sure that everybody who has to see it had the time to see it?
It was discussed in the last executive committee.
Where is the proposal?
But we didn't have the proposal then.
I don't believe
It should have been proposed.
Exactly. So what are we talking about? This is what I think that we can improve. We are discussing things up in the air. Tons of emails. Like I'm flooded with emails from community board, from work, from so many things. We have to be in the habit of like, if we are going to discuss something that's being proposed, let's put it in the face of everybody. In the executive committees, this is where we are supposed to do our work.
Okay.
Nothing should be approved. So May 2nd was not a day that was discussed with Josephine or myself. The fact that they are available doesn't mean that we are available to do it. So, and listen, I apologize if I missed any meetings, any emails or anything like that. I apologize. You can hold me accountable. But I'm saying, like, this is the process that we need to have. There's been other requests from other committees too, and there's only a limited amount of requests that we can handle. You know, on top of our committee meetings, general board meetings, we cannot be hosting 4 events plus a food pantry event on the weekend. It's too much.
I was gonna ask that question. If we're gonna do this on May 2nd, I was gonna say, remember, we do the food pantry throughout the morning. So right there's already like a
And they won't- It's in
limitation.
the afternoon, but it won't have the book exchange, because that will be at the plaza.
Okay.
So the book exchange one.
But the book exchange would be happening too.
Yeah.
So even if it's
So-
not on our side.
So
that's
I
already-
think right there's a conflict of interest right there.
So that's
Yeah.
already 3 events.
Mhm.
And mind you, Saturday is a calm time request for the district manager to, and we have to be mindful of how often we are making those as well. So I just want to listen, I just want to make things very, very clear so that we know where we stand. Let's wrap up the meeting, let's adjourn the meeting.
No, please, let me just say something. So, okay, so remember, before it was environmental justice, so things were kind of like, things got confusing, things went off the side when there was such a transition period, because we voted on this to have the weatherization workshop. It was voted on this, and people asked me, what is the proposal? That meeting, if people go to the minutes, is there. The proposal was stated, 30 people, this and that, and they gotta talk about the YouTube. We still got a question for that. So that was made. So are you saying that you go back to the minutes that happened? These things have happened before. The proposal was already made. Well, one of the things that you have to be aware of is when things change to committees, things were put, like, there was no transition as to what other things were happening. So there was confusion and lack of communication between things. So for me, what I should have done, and other people from the previous committee and other people that were there, is that we should have went to Ambrose and explained to him what was done before, to get him in touch with the other stuff. Well, my side is my fault. I would take blame for that. That I shouldn't have mentioned that, because these things have been discussed for several months. So if somebody says that there was no proposal, that's not correct. If you go into the minutes, it was there because we voted on it. I'm just saying that because they could go to the minutes, and it's right there.
Thank you, Cesar. I am going to adjourn the meeting so that we can discuss administrative issues and we can wrap up the meeting. Everything's been recorded and noted. We can discuss offline. So can I make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Let me make a motion. What?
You have to ask for the motion. You have to ask for the motion.
Can I make a motion?
You have to ask for the motion.
Okay, can I ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'm just magical and making a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I, Argeli Ortiz, second it.
All in favor?
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned, thank you. Okay, Anthony, if you can pause all that recording.
Are you gonna pause it?
One second.
Would you please turn it off?
1 second, please.
Also, Andre.
Would you be willing to?
Andre.
Yes.
I need to talk with you too.
All right, sounds good, yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
So do you wanna-
Very well.